Have you ever felt that life brings unpleasant surprises out of the blue? Sometimes fear and doubt creep in, paralyzing you and preventing you from moving forward. These obstacles are normal. They are part of life. What really matters is how we deal with them, because the challenges don't diminish, but we can become stronger. Here, I'm going to share 5 secrets of the Stoics that will help you build solid confidence, making you stronger to face any problem. Life is full of ups and downs, challenges and problems, but how can we improve in the face of challenges? How can we overcome them? I'll quote Epictetus, "You are what you pay attention to," so I want you to pay attention to what the Stoics have to say. Their wisdom can help you deal with, face, and overcome any challenge, especially today when many people act based on emotions, not reason. Using reason to make decisions makes the difference between those who achieve success and those who don't. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have control over your mind, not over external events." He highlights the importance of focusing on ourselves, our actions, thoughts, attitudes, virtues, and desires. Since we can't control what's outside of us, we shouldn't focus on it. Mental strength involves persisting in the face of adversity, staying focused despite distractions, and maintaining resilience in the face of obstacles. As he put it, the obstacle is the way. Stoic philosophy emphasizes resilience in the face of adversity, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and not act recklessly in difficult times. But in order to reach this level of self-control and calm, you first have to mature. And this maturity comes from internalizing our thoughts and finding out why they arise. And this introspection helps us to take a broader view, finding other ways of looking at the situation and improving our perspective on the events themselves. Our emotional reactions are determined by our own judgments and perceptions. Every time you encounter an obstacle that makes you feel afraid or anxious, it's time to internalize the feeling and start self-reflecting, asking yourself why you're feeling that way in that situation. In this way, we can change our view of events and have a clearer judgment, which can reduce these negative feelings. Epictetus said, "It is not an event and a feeling, but rather an event, a judgment, and then a feeling." And it is at that very moment that we can build or destroy our confidence. And to build it, no matter how hard we're hit in battle, we can still get up and move on. The bird that flies with the wind goes farther than the bird that flies against it. This metaphor by Marcus Aurelius suggests the importance of being flexible and resilient in the face of adversity. The metaphor of going with the wind shows the resilience and adaptation that are crucial for the bird to survive longer and live in harmony with nature in difficult times. It also reflects on controlling the ego, not putting oneself on a pedestal and trying to change things as they really are, because they simply are. Great thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus shared teachings that promote a strong mind and valuable thoughts. Through the application of reason, Stoic philosophy proposes achieving lasting inner peace and cultivating true happiness. By adopting these principles, we make more careful choices, seeking self-control and developing a mindset that not only enhances our lives, but also contributes to a more harmonious and prosperous society. By cultivating virtues such as courage and wisdom, we not only become better people but also play an active role in building a more positive environment. The pursuit of self-improvement, guided by the teachings of these philosophers, not only contributes to our individual happiness, but also to collective prosperity. 1. Embrace impermanence and cultivate detachment. Stoicism teaches that everything in life is fleeting, including life itself. This may sound a bit discouraging or even gloomy, but it's really not. It frees us to follow the path we want, ignoring the opinions of others, overcoming the fear of loss and failure, and recognizing the lack of value in momentary pleasures and immediate satisfaction. When we understand the transitory nature of reality, we can develop the ability not to become attached to material possessions and external circumstances. This doesn't mean that we should be indifferent to the events around us. On the contrary, it's about developing a sense of inner peace and resilience that doesn't depend on things that happen outside of us. When we are not strongly attached to our desires or expectations, we can better understand the experiences of others, knowing that everyone faces life in different ways. This helps us to free ourselves from the limits of our thoughts and to remain calm when things don't turn out as we had hoped. We understand that our power lies in our actions, not in the results. According to Stoicism, detachment was essential to living a virtuous life. This would create space in our minds and souls to focus on actions that are under our control. The Stoics concentrated on their thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and paid no attention to what was outside their control. The virtue of acting and thinking was entirely up to them, while the results were beyond their reach. Their possessions and reputation were to be viewed with indifference. Let's imagine Zeno, who was a very wealthy merchant. One day he lost all his goods at sea, but instead of being sad, Zeno didn't care too much because he knew that this situation was out of his control, and so he created Stoicism. The idea is to practice emotional detachment, that is, not getting too attached to things we can't control. This helps us to separate our happiness from material things and outside situations. We learn that true happiness doesn't come from things outside us, but from within us. This means that we don't get shaken when good or bad things happen. We learn to stay calm even when things get difficult. When we don't get caught up in what's happening outside, we can think clearly and make good decisions. If we can free ourselves from the prison of external things, nothing will disturb us. Detachment gives us an inner strength, like a light that shines within us, bringing peace and clarity of mind, even when life gets complicated. By focusing on what we can control, we find a lasting balance. In addition, detachment helps us to be stronger in the face of challenges. It allows us to recover quickly when things go wrong because we don't take everything too seriously or dwell on the past. We can focus on the present and what is within our control. This makes us more resilient, which means we face problems with confidence, knowing that we can adapt and grow from them. 2. Face your fears. Think of a person who is terrified of public speaking. Every time they have to give a presentation, they get nervous, think it's going to go wrong and break out in a cold sweat. Then they always ask their more resourceful friend for help, who gives them some tips and even talks along during the presentation. It helps at the time, but it doesn't take away her fear of public speaking. It just helps her out of a momentary jam. The real point is that you'll only stop being afraid of public speaking when you understand that it's not a big deal. When they finally realize that it's not the end of the world and that the people there are more concerned with the content than with any stumbling blocks, then they'll have taken a huge step towards being more at ease in these situations and growing as a person. In Stoicism, it's similar. To become a better person, we need to face our fears. This is fundamental to developing self-control and inner strength. Accepting challenges has an important purpose. It shapes our character, strengthens our resilience, and guides us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves, bringing inner tranquility. Rather than avoiding the fears and difficulties that arise, the Stoics encourage us to prepare and face them, because it is in this facing that we find growth. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle is the way." Facing obstacles not only makes us braver, but also illuminates our path, making us more aware of the challenges we face and strengthening us in the face of them. This results in inner peace and control over our emotions. Each challenge along the way becomes a learning opportunity, strengthening our soul for the next obstacles we will encounter. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He realized that the human imagination can be destructive, as many people suffer anticipating the worst possible scenario. Although Stoicism is about preparing for the worst, it doesn't mean constantly thinking about the worst, as this would only bring suffering. Stoic philosophy challenges our minds to face fears rather than avoid them. Facing fear directly lessens its impact on us. This confrontation not only makes us braver, but also reveals the illusion behind many fears, allowing us to move forward with courage. Recognizing that a bleak future is possible does not mean that it is inevitable. By adopting this courageous perspective, we free ourselves from the grip of fear and move forward with determination. As Epictetus used to say, "Circumstances do not make a man, they only reveal him to himself." This wisdom resonates when we say that feeling fear is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, facing it is an act of courage. The Stoics did not postulate that courage means the absence of fear, but rather that acting even in the face of fear is what truly characterizes courage. They emphasize that the value of facing fears is invaluable for personal growth. By facing one's fears, there is an internal transformation, a strengthening of the person. This process results in greater emotional resilience, a stronger personality, and the development of self-awareness. The Stoics understood that by facing your fears head-on, you not only overcome them, but also grow as a person. This approach highlights the vital importance of confronting fears as the only effective means of overcoming them and growing emotionally. Facing fear not only demonstrates courage, but also drives a journey of self-discovery and self-transformation. This valuable lesson teaches us that true bravery lies in taking action, even when fear is present, and that by doing so, we reach a higher state of authenticity and inner strength. 3. Visualization. Thinking about what will happen in the future makes us more worried than thinking about the present. Sometimes we suffer more because of our own ideas, especially when we think about what might happen in the future. Our imagination creates many stories that may not even come true. We get worried imagining how things will turn out, even if we're not sure. Sometimes what actually happens in the future is different from what we think, and that makes us anxious. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that it's not the future that hurts us, but how we react to it in the present. Worrying about tomorrow happens now, creating negative feelings. The funny thing is that the real future doesn't happen now, because when it arrives, it's already our present. Suffering about the future comes from the worries we have now. When we think too much about what's going to happen, it affects how we feel in the moment, causing anguish and worry in our minds. This is because, throughout evolution, we have developed the habit of anticipating problems as a way of protecting ourselves. The Stoics used a technique called pre-anticipation, in which they deliberately thought about the worst situations that could happen. They did this to mentally prepare themselves for possible problems, which helped them not to be so emotionally shaken if these things actually happened. Even if these situations did occur, it was rare. This strategy helped them stay calm, showing that even in the face of difficult challenges, the strength within them remained strong. What's more, forethought offers more than just emotional strength. It's a powerful tool for assessing and reducing risks. By considering worst-case scenarios, we can identify potential problems and create plans to overcome them. This proactive approach gives us the power to control our lives and reduce the chances of unfavorable events. Furthermore, anticipating difficulties gives us the ability to face them calmly and fairly. By imagining the worst situations in advance, we prepare ourselves to deal with obstacles without being taken by surprise. This helps us to remain calm and rational when we go through difficult times in life. And here's another secret for those of you who have come this far: gratitude. We often focus on what we lack or the problems that may arise, which makes us feel dissatisfied. However, by practicing gratitude, we can change our perspective and find comfort in what we already have. Gratitude is like a motto in Stoic philosophy, conveying the wisdom of appreciating the gifts we already have rather than desiring what we don't have. For the Stoics, gratitude was not just a virtue but a compass that guides us towards a virtuous life. They argued that we should focus our attention on what is under our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. On the other hand, external things such as our possessions, reputation, and even our very existence should be regarded with Stoic indifference. Gratitude, in its essence, directs our focus from scarcity to abundance. The practice of gratitude plays a fundamental role in our journey, encouraging us to appreciate the good things that permeate our lives, regardless of their magnitude. These blessings can manifest in simple forms, such as a comfortable bed, the daily food on our plate, or even a cooling fan to soften the heat on the hottest days. The ability to recognize and appreciate these everyday elements is a central aspect of gratitude. Furthermore, practicing gratitude not only directs our gaze towards the gifts we have received, but also cultivates feelings of compassion and empathy towards others. By recognizing the blessings in our own lives, we become more sensitive to the experiences and challenges faced by those around us, thus strengthening the bonds we share with the people around us. By practicing gratitude, we are able to redirect our focus from the feeling of scarcity to the sincere recognition of what we already have. This change in perspective not only relieves stress and anxiety, but also contributes to a happier and more fulfilled life. As well as improving our emotional state, gratitude has the potential to strengthen our interpersonal relationships. By expressing gratitude to others, we show recognition and appreciation for their contributions, creating deeper and more meaningful bonds. The regular practice of gratitude makes us more resilient in the face of life's challenges, providing a positive outlook and strengthening our ability to face adversity with a more balanced mindset. To help address issues like this, I've shared a link in the first comment that can provide guidance on how to face these emotions, inspired by the practices of the Stoics. 4. Acceptance of the inevitable. One of the fundamental principles of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which urges us to recognize and accept what is beyond our ability to influence. This understanding involves realizing that the actions of family, friends, and co-workers are beyond our absolute control, although we can exert some influence over them. Accepting this reality frees our minds from unrealistic expectations and the burden of trying to change the inevitable. This allows us to focus our attention on what really matters, our reactions and attitudes to events. By stopping trying to control the uncontrollable, we direct our energy towards the actions over which we do have effective control. It is crucial to understand that acceptance does not mean passivity. On the contrary, it is the understanding that worrying excessively about events beyond our control will not change them. We are the authors of our own story, accepting the lines that life draws in our path and dealing with them as best we can. Accepting that we cannot govern all external circumstances frees us from the illusory desire to alter the inevitable. Instead of fighting against the tides of fate, Stoicism suggests that we focus on honing our navigational skills, adjusting our movements according to the waves of life. This philosophy also reminds us of our intrinsic connection with nature and how universal laws influence our lives. However, the emphasis is not on trying to control these laws, but on transforming what is within our reach. Accepting the inevitable does not imply giving up or passively surrendering to fate. On the contrary, it means not worrying unnecessarily about what is beyond our direct influence, which in turn frees up mental space to focus on what we can actually shape. This attitude frees us from the anxiety that permeates the modern world as we relieve the self-imposed weight from our shoulders. Developing the ability to accept the inevitable takes patience and constant practice, but its importance is inestimable. In the wise words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, it is not that we have too little time to live, but that we waste too much of it. Life is like a long race, not a quick 100-meter dash. If we think of it as something lasting, we realize that we have plenty of time to enjoy this gift. But to do so, we need to use it wisely. But when we waste it out of carelessness, laziness, or just for comfort without looking for something meaningful, we end up being reminded on our deathbed that we weren't the best we could have been. As Marcus Aurelius said, don't waste any more time discussing what a good man should be like. Be one. What Seneca and Marcus Aurelius are conveying with these words is that we should make the most of our time, focusing on being the best version of ourselves, rather than worrying about what we can't control or complaining about life's events. We know that on social media, many people are posting all the time about how to be better or to be disciplined and motivated, but that's just saying how to be a good man, not being one. So focus on your actions and concentrate on what really matters. 5. Cultivate self-discipline. Self-discipline may seem daunting, but it's not a punishment. In fact, it means being able to make ourselves do things we know we should do, even when we don't want to. It means having the power to say no to the things that take us away from our goals and instead focus on what needs to be done. According to the Stoics, the key to achieving inner peace and self-control is through self-discipline. This means putting off immediate gratification and concentrating firmly on your goals, even in uncomfortable or adverse situations. When you have a task to accomplish, it is important to do what is necessary to remain committed to your goals. By mastering the skill of resisting instant gratification and staying focused on your goals, you develop the resilience and self-control needed to keep going, regardless of the challenges and problems that may arise. The Stoics believed strongly in the power of the will to overcome obstacles, and cultivating a resolute will involves setting clear goals and pursuing them with determination, even in the face of difficult conditions. This constant commitment makes someone practically unstoppable, enabling them to deal with adversity with extraordinary determination. Epictetus highlighted 3 pillars for following self-discipline. He compared life to a banquet, advising us to approach it with moderation. If a plate is in front of us, we should eat in a balanced way. If it hasn't reached us yet, we shouldn't rush to grab it, and if it has already passed us by, we shouldn't strive to prevent its passage. True strength lies in the ability to refuse what is offered to us. This skill of self-control takes us to a higher level, Resisting momentary temptation brings balance to maintaining self-discipline, avoiding distractions and unnecessary excesses. Another crucial point, according to Epictetus, is to persist in the face of difficulties, because no matter how strong and uncomfortable it may be at times, it is important to persevere, as this drives the goal set. Epictetus's last pillar is a star in the sky. Having a specific goal, a kind of star to strive for, is crucial to leading a disciplined life. Without clear goals, our energy can become scattered and used for short-term objectives, or even irrelevant things. Maintaining the mental strength needed to stay focused is what provides the essential sparkle to persevere in the face of difficulties, because we understand what we are striving for and recognize its value. It's understandable that some people feel that they lack a clear purpose in life, making it challenging to achieve their dreams and ambitions. This sense of directionlessness can stem from the fear of failure or the overload of options in modern society, resulting in confusion and indecision. This ambiguity in turn contributes to anxiety, an experience that affects many people in today's age. Therefore, we can develop resilience by finding that purpose, feeling where we are led, and how we're going to keep moving forward. This resilience is something that influences our character in such a way that nothing else can stop us. We can become armored in the face of life's adversities. And to achieve this, we're going to see how these simple Stoics words will help you through life's most heavy situations. Click on the video and watch it now.